Good evening. Welcome everybody to the May 4th, 2017 meeting of the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals. I'll start by asking everybody to silence your cell phone and by introducing the board from your left to right. Jerry Thomas is an associate member of the board. Ken Foreman is the vice chairman of the board. TJ Hurry is the clerk. I'm Kimberly Beelan. I'm the chairman. Next in line is Ed Van Kuren. He's a regular voting member, as is Paul Murphy. And at the end is Robert Dugan, and he is an associate member. Sri Budro is our zoning administrator, and Andrade Geishecker is our recording secretary. I'll just kind of give you an overview of the process. So we have one continuation tonight, and then we have 5 new public hearings. At the start of a public hearing, TJ will read the public notice into the record, and then he will read any referrals that we receive from other town departments and summarize correspondence. We'll then give the applicant or the applicant's representative 15 minutes to make their presentation. If the board members have questions, which we usually do, we'll ask questions of the applicant and try to get answers to those. We'll then open it for public comment, and people can speak in favor or in opposition. We just ask that all comment be directed to the project. If somebody wishes to speak from the public, just raise your hand. I'll recognize you. You just provide your name and address and provide comments. If we think that we have enough information to make a decision, we'll close the public hearing. We can make a decision tonight. We'll do that in front of you. If we think we need more information or more time, we can always continue it to a date and time certain, and we'll provide that date and time tonight as well. So the first item on the agenda is continuation application 10316, estate of R. Gilbert Allenby, and this is 996 East Falmouth Highway. Oh no. And this was, I'll just say, we had had a presentation last hearing. We reviewed, this was continued so we could review a draft of a remand decision.
Yes. Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. My name is Edward Kirk. I represented some of the abutters who were involved in the litigation that brought this particular case. Mr. Sabat represents the landowner and the applicant. I do expect he's going to be here. I came from Osterville. There was some traffic, but I left early enough.
I think I see him coming in.
I'm assuming.
No, I think it's Chris.
So if I keep talking, he'll be here on time.
Wrong one. We can continue it.
Yes.
Continue it till later in the night, please.
Well, if he's here, it would be great.
There was Attorney Ledhurst who was walking in.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, so
yes.
Too many attorneys.
I apologize that we can't get going right away, but I'm sure he'll be here.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Attorney Hurt.
We'll check
So do we
after
need
the first
a
hearing.
motion, Sri, just to,
A motion to continue it till after the next hearing.
Okay.
Attorney Sabat.
I'll make a motion to continue it.
okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
So that's Ed and TJ, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay. So then we will move right along. So the first new public hearing is application 14-17, Maloney, 19 Crescent Ave.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you hereby notified that Robert M. and Jane M. Maloney of Falmouth, Massachusetts applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a modification of existing special permits pursuant to Sections 240-3C and 240-69E of the Code of Falmouth to demolish existing deck and rebuild and close a portion of existing porch and construct an addition to increase living space within the pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling on subject property known as 19 Crescent Ave, Falmouth, Massachusetts. And for referrals, from Conservation, contained stormwater on property. From Engineering is the standard comment with the addition that project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or rights of way. Dry wells are proposed for this project. From the Fire Department, no comment. From the Assessors, no comment. And from Planning, no comment.
Right. Attorney Power?
Good evening, Madam
Could I
Chairman.
just want to disclose, my wife and I are friends of the Maloneys, but I feel that I can be impartial and won't impact on any decision I make,
Okay.
take part in.
That reminds me, can you go through who the voting members
So,
are?
yeah, so the voting members will be the regular voting
Right.
members, but you will participate in asking questions. I think everybody's probably fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Attorney
Okay.
Fox?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is Kevin Clower. I'm an attorney here in Falmouth, and I represent Bob and Jane Maloney, the owners of 19 Crescent Ave, and the applicants in this matter. The Maloneys are here with us this evening. They own the property at 19 Crescent Ave, which is located in the heart of Falmouth Heights, directly between Crescent Ave and Vesper Ave, on a lot of approximately 9,001 square feet. The existing house is in the RC zoning district, has a footprint of 1,897 square feet, 2 stories, and a height of approximately 26 feet. It's presently non-conforming as to front yard setback, being 12.9 feet, where 25 feet is required, and as to lot coverage percentage, being 21.07%, where 20% is allowed by right, and up to 25% is allowed by special permit. It is conforming to the rear and side yard setbacks. They are seeking permission to renovate the existing first floor to improve the layout and the living space. Specifically, they're looking to expand the deck area, the den area, and the entryway. This will not result in any changes to the second floor. It will result in an expansion of the footprint and a corresponding change to the lot coverage. There will be no new nonconformity. Ultimately, this ends up with a better layout for the house, a better living area, and more outdoor space for both the applicants and their children and grandchildren. As I mentioned, the front yard setback remains unaffected by this potential change. There is an increase in lot coverage. It would go to 22.22%, which is permissible under the zoning bylaw. However, it does require a special permit under both sections 240-3C and 240-69E. 243C states that pre-existing non-conforming structures may be changed by special permit of this board, provided that they're not substantially more detrimental than the existing structure. In reviewing this, the board is to look at the standards of 240-216 and consider whether or not there's any new dimensional nonconformities, whether or not it impairs any views and vistas, and whether or not it reasonably conforms to the average dimensions in the neighborhood. Similarly, 240-69E allows for lot coverage of up to 25% by special permit of this board. And again, the board is asked to consider the size and height of the structure relative to the average size and height in the neighborhood, the effects of shadow on adjacent properties, the impacts on views and vistas from public ways, and the effects of nitrogen on the coastal embayments. As to the first standard, 240-3, as I've mentioned, the front yard setback isn't affected. The changes to the footprint are relatively minimal, and there are no detriments to this project, certainly relative to the existing structure. As to the standards of 240-69E, this increase is permissible under the bylaw. I did submit a spreadsheet with the application, which was revised with the revised plan, showing the average dimensions in the neighborhood. The average lot coverage percentage in the neighborhood, being the homes within 300 feet of this property, is 28.26%. We're asking for 22.22. It's an increase of just over 1%, and certainly within the character of the area. There are no effects of shadow on adjacent properties. There's no change to the second floor. There's no change to the ridge line of the roof heights. There's no impacts on views and vistas, and there's no effect on nitrogen, as there's no change to the number of bedrooms. These modifications are not substantially more detrimental than what currently exists. This does not cause any adverse effects. There's no new nonconformities. There's no impact on view of vistas. Based on this information, based on the relatively minor scope of the renovations being sought, and their conformity with the terms of the bylaw, I would ask that you grant this request for a special permit. I'd be glad to address any questions that the board may have at this time.
Jerry?
No questions?
Ken?
So if I counted correctly, there were 36 properties in that list that you gave us?
Sure.
And this one ranked, I think there were 26 lots that had higher lot coverage than this out of that 36.
Sounds about right.
The only other question I had is there were a couple of prior special permits. And you started out at, I think, 17.8% lot coverage, increasing to 19.8. And I'm not quite sure how we got, I think I read the current is 20.42. Not sure how we got there.
I asked the same question. The shed, 120 square
Oh,
feet, is the difference in the lot coverage. The applicant should have come to the board
Thank you.
and submitted a permit when they did that. They didn't, so this would correct that issue.
Okay, that's it then.
TJ?
No questions.
No question.
No.
No, just that it is a four-bedroom, correct?
Yes. I noticed, I didn't know if perhaps the architect was counting the den as a bedroom when
I didn't know if it was a typo on the plan.
I wasn't sure, but there's no change to the number of bedrooms that are being sought. And if anything, so if there are in fact 5, if you were counting the den, the new family room would not be a bedroom under the definitions of Title V. So if you want to call it a decrease, you can do that.
Question about the shed.
Sure.
So I'm just looking at the plan. It looks like it's denoted as an existing structure to be removed. I mean, there's all kinds of it's tough to tell.
Included.
Well, it
It doesn't-
shows that it's included in lot coverage, but then,
The proposed includes shed, so unfortunately, Mr. Bunker isn't here, so I can yell at him about his lines being a little bit off on that one. My belief is the shed is remaining. Yeah, that's certainly the intent.
all right. I was just trying to make sense of all the different,
That looks
there's
like
angled lines, there's straight up and down lines.
That's the deck that's going to be removed. The shed doesn't have anything
There's lines.
to it.
Well, it's,
Look on the bigger drawing, I think you can see.
the shed's
It's
actually
I'm
clearer.
looking on a big drawing.
You
on
are?
the,
Okay.
on the legend.
It looks that the lines are going
The
left
legend
to
I
right.
see it's
All right, but
included.
either way, it's
On the
calculated as
legend,
part
it's
of that
colored as existing to be
21.1
removed.
Oh, on the legend,
Okay.
okay.
And it is included in the
in the lot
Right.
coverage.
lot coverage of
It
the
is.
proposed as well.
But
So
it's
staying.
remaining.
Is remaining. Okay. If you remove that, you wouldn't be back under the 20%?
No.
Okay. Sari, do you have any questions?
No, I don't, thank you. And I was looking at the correct plan.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? Okay. All right, I think we probably have enough information. What do you guys think?
I'm happy to move that we close.
Second.
Okay, so that's Ken and Ed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And how would you guys like to proceed?
I'm willing to make a positive motion on this one. I think it really is in keeping with the neighborhood, and even though they're going above 20% compared to most of the other houses, they're well within the envelope.
Yeah, and the renovations are modest, and they don't have a garage, so the shed certainly...
Excuse me, Madam Chairman, nobody seconded the motion to grant.
Yes, they did. I thought it was...
No.
Oh,
I'll
sorry.
So it's Ken Foreman and TJ?
So Ken and TJ, thank you, sorry.
It's okay.
about that.
So are you on findings now or still?
No, I was
discussion?
just what we were talking.
Yeah, so I think
But I
one
guess we need to
finding,
find it.
if I did my count correctly, is that it's, there's, among the abutting lots, at least 26 of them have lot coverage greater out of the 36. And the testimony was, I think the average lot coverage was 28%.
28 point something,
So-
28.26.
Yeah, so this is below that.
Right, so that's another potential finding. Is there an increase? There's no increase in height.
No,
No increase in height, no change to the setback nonconformities.
yeah, no new nonconformities. I would just say, I think we should have a finding that a shed was added subsequent to our last special permit, and that accounts for it being over 20%, but that we think, or, that's appropriate anyways with the 20.
And this will correct that because it wasn't permitted,
Right.
and it should have been. And there's no change to the bedroom count, which is another,
So bedroom count remains as 4.
yeah. I don't know, is this one on the sewer? Probably.
No.
No?
No, it's
Okay.
What's the proposed, sorry, I know the lot coverage. One plan says 21.11, and I think that's what Kevin's
The
narrative.
revised plan was issued on April 17th.
So that's 22.22?
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
all right. I was looking at two different ones.
I have it going from current 20.42 to 22.22.
Yes, yeah. I was just looking at two different plans. Okay, so the findings,
And then-
24216, did we do this? Okay. And then I had conditions, per plans,
Per plan.
I think an as-built plan, because it's
Thank you.
10 feet from the,
Well, the addition isn't, but you want to get the accurate lot coverage and setbacks,
yes.
just in case.
Yeah, the setback.
So the
and-
as-built will include both of those.
Yes.
Okay.
And then no modifications without coming back to the board, which I know is a standard one, but we should make sure that we,
Well, do you want the language stronger?
well, no additional accessory
I think
structures
the language is
without-
pretty
I
strong the
think
way you
it's-
usually write it.
It's consistent how we usually do it. I
No
just-
deviation, no matter how minor. That's
We could
pretty-
underline it.
Put it in bold. I think it's pretty strong.
So no,
They've
you want me to
already
add no
accessory
additional
structure.
accessory
Three
structures
I
without?
think, without board
board's approval.
approval.
Okay. And no more than 4 bedrooms, let's keep that.
Yeah, so, and we have a finding to support that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So that was Ken's motion to approve. TJ seconded it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And so that's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Attorney Kirk, are you still waiting? I-
Yes, we're still waiting for
Okay.
Mr. Sabat.
All right, thank you. So do we need another motion, Sri?
No.
No, no, good, until, okay.
Go ahead with the next one and then check again.
Okay, so the next one, in order, is Bulgarian 335 Quaker Road, North Falmouth, application 1617. Thank you.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Kenneth R. Dulgarian of Providence, Rhode Island, applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Section 240-160A of the Code of Falmouth to allow seasonal parking during the summer months for a fee on subject property known as 335 Quaker Road, North Falmouth, Massachusetts. And for referrals from Conservation, provided the number of cars permitted does not increase. From Engineering, standard comment. From Fire Department, no comment. From the Assessors, no comment. From Planning, no comment. That's it for referrals.
Okay. Attorney Leopard?
Good evening. For the record, Christopher Lebhers here tonight for the Dulgarians. You'll note that the applicant is Kenneth Dulgarian, and the young gentleman I have with me tonight is Harry Dulgarian, Kenneth's son. This has really been Harry's application and process right from day one. We started this in 2009 when Harry was 10 years old. He's 18 years old tonight, and he's been the man on this year in and year out. We've been very, very fortunate and very appreciative of what the board has done in the past.
Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. If you're going to speak, you just have to go out into the hall. Thank you.
We've been very appreciative of what the board's done in the past. We've asked for 7 cars. Hours of operation are in last year's permit, and I think the prior years, 9 to 7:30 at night, Memorial Day to Labor Day. We're not aware of any problems over the years. It's only a few cars, a little bit of relief for the town parking across the street. But other than that, I told Harry it's going to be his show tonight. He's here to answer any questions you might have, and I'll kind of stand back up if necessary. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Harry, would you introduce yourself?
I'm Harry Dulgarian. I'm the son of the applicant, and I run the business.
Great. Let me see if anybody has questions. Jerry, do you?
No questions.
Ken?
What are your future plans?
What
Well-
school are you going to?
Yeah, I'm a senior at St. Andrews in Barrington, Rhode Island. I'm graduating this year. I'm going to attend Bryant University next year. I was surprised I got in. But I
Congratulations.
actually, I put this on my resume. That might have done it. The GPA definitely didn't do it.
But you're entrepreneurial.
Yeah, I definitely put that on there. But other than that, father's in real estate. Hopefully someday I'll surpass him. But for now, just working hard.
Great, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
TJ, any questions?
How was business last year?
It was good. I like it when it's sunny, that's for sure. But rainy
We
days
all.
don't help. No.
That's it. Ed?
No.
No, no questions, thanks.
Thank you very much.
How do you get people to come onto the site? Do you have like any signage or anything like that?
I have some flags. Being vocal is a very big part of it, I've learned. When I was little, I was thinking about getting one of those, the speaker phones.
Megaphone.
Yeah.
But that might have looked a little funny. So people usually get the message with the flags, and sometimes I'll wear like a little vest or something that'll say parking on the shirt, so
Yeah.
that helps sometimes.
Great.
But, yeah.
There must be some people who kind of go just right to your lot, is that?
I have made some regulars over the years, so I've been doing it since I was little. And I have customers that have been coming to me since day one, so a lot of loyal customers.
Good.
Do you give them a seasonal discount?
No, I do not. But
It's an idea, though. Jerry.
sometimes I'll hold the spot if they want me to.
Great. Let me just see. Suri, do you have questions?
No.
Okay. And if we give you the same decision, same special permit that we did last year, I assume that's fine?
Yeah, I think I'll make do with that.
Okay. Great. Is there anyone here to speak in favor or in opposition of this application? No. Okay, great. So, does somebody want to make a motion to close?
I'll make a motion to close.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so that's Ed and Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And how would you guys like to proceed? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, and that will be, so that was Ed and Paul again. And that will be the same decision that we've
Right,
had in previous
same
years.
conditions.
Same conditions on
And
hours of
it'll be
operation.
May 27th through September 5th,
Very good. Thank you.
7:30, or 9 to 7:30.
Yes. Thank you.
Great. So that was Ed and Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
We'll
Good
see you-
luck.
We'll see you next year.
Congratulations.
I'll be sad when you
My son
outgrow
went to
this.
Bryant.
Thank you. Good luck.
Good luck to you.
Your handshake has certainly gotten
Thanks,
firmer.
Harry. Take care.
Attorney Kirk and Attorney Sabat. Sabat, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. So, the
I'd like
next,
to introduce Attorney Sabat.
thank you. So we're back to the public hearing for number 10316.
Well, I apologize, I thought it was at 7 o'clock, so I understand it was at 6:30, so, and here I thought I was going to be right on time.
That's okay. Ed stood in for you.
Yes, yep.
Okay, that's great. All right, so, when we last, when we adjourned, I had volunteered to prepare a draft decision for the board, which I did, and we made some changes along the way, and I have, which have been sent back and forth and so on, and I have a final copy for signature tonight.
2 copies, right?
2, yes. I have actually several, but I do have 2, yes.
And I didn't get any other remarks from the board members.
No, and everybody's had a chance to
Yeah.
review,
Yeah.
and I know that there were some changes.
Right, and he made those today, and he had already made some typographical
Right, there was
corrections.
a suggestion about some grammar, which I conceded on, and I made that change. And then there was a typographical error, which I had picked up on, and that was changed. And then there was a question as to the findings. I had referred generally to Chapter 240, and it was a question, should I have referred specifically to Chapter 240, Section 16? This is the provision that calls for finding that it comports with the intent of the chapter. And I looked at the bylaw, and it does say comport with the intent of the chapter. So that was intentional to say Chapter 240 as opposed to Section 240-16.
It's all zoning.
So I do have that. The only other last-minute change, again minor, was that I delineated that with the specific tasks, that these would be undertaken by All Cape Recycling. And so I inserted All Cape Recycling. And I could walk you through that if you want, but I sent a highlighted version today showing where I made that explication. So I have the two copies here.
The clerk will accept those for you.
Yes.
And if the board votes it, it'll be signed.
All right, so I think probably, I don't think that we need any further explanation or anything like that. I think we could probably move to close if everybody's
Sure.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Happy to make that motion if you want.
Second it.
Okay, so that's Ken and Ed. All those in favor?
Aye.
And then, so it's the regular voting members on this, I just want to make
Right.
sure. And is there a motion to approve as drafted?
Make the motion to approve.
That's Ed,
As drafted.
as drafted. And Ken?
I'll second.
Seconds it. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None, so that's unanimous. So TJ, will you, I guess, but we'll have to record it anyways, but.
Right. I will, TJ will sign it tonight. I will file it with the town clerk in the morning and scan a stamped copy to you, so you'll know the 20 days.
All right.
Oh, Mike.
And you as well, Ed, excuse me. I didn't mean to leave you out.
I'll sign it right in front of you guys just for good measure. Congratulations on your
All
settlement
right,
as
well,
well.
thank you very much.
Thanks for
Wahoo. It's been a while.
your
Thank you.
attention to the matter
Thank you for
over
your...
many years.
Right.
Yes. 2009.
I had here.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'll take that decision, please. Thank you so much.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is application 18-17 Lewis to, is it Bark Road Drive? I apologize. Hatchville. Bark? Yeah. So TJ's just going to read the referral in first.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Nathan Lewis of West Falmouth, Massachusetts, applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Section 240-162F of the Code of Falmouth to allow a home-based landscape business on subject property known as 2 Bark Drive, Hatchville, Massachusetts. And for referrals from the assessors, it includes lots 12 and 21. From Conservation, no comment. From Engineering is the standard comment. From Marine and Environmental Services, no comment. From the Fire Department, no comment. And from Planning, no comment. And there's also 5 letters with no objections and 1 letter of support, 1 letter with concerns.
Great, thank you. All right, good evening.
How you doing? Good evening. My name is Timothy Lewis, my brother Nathan. We own and operate Lewis Landscaping, and we're here to hopefully receive a permit for a home-based landscape business. We have been there for a little while, and we're looking to, we feel we've complied with all the town bylaws, and we have a number of letters in favor of the business being where it is, and we're hoping for your approval this evening.
Yeah, I have 5 letters of approval here. I'm a little confused by the count there, and I didn't see, maybe the letter of complaint was what got the ball rolling, but I never saw such a thing.
We do not have the letter of complaint. It was never submitted from the building department to this file. We have a letter of concern and 5, I believe, in support. Is that correct, TJ?
It says 5 letters with no objections and 1 letter
Right.
of support.
Right, excuse me.
Okay, all right, support. Are we
are we allowed to know what the concerns were? Therefore, we could...
I am not the
address them?
zoning enforcement agent. You need to speak with Ms. Fitzpatrick on that.
But the,
It strictly came here because you're operating out of zoning.
Right.
And you came in the office to speak with us, and we helped you through this process, Nathan, so this is where you're at.
yeah, there was a letter of concern that came in today. Did it come in today, that letter?
This morning, yes, Antonellis, yes.
Yes. And so that is part of the file, the public hearing file. I don't know if you've
And
received
it's
that.
regarding
Okay.
screening, I believe, is the concern.
The height of the,
I
what they'll be
believe-
planting.
Wasn't it sent to you?
I didn't see, we didn't see.
Forwarded to,
So maybe we can bring it
That
up.
was,
That was my mistake then, because I got in very early this morning, sent it to the board members, and then quickly took a vote. So that's my mistake, I apologize. I can get you a copy, or you can read it, TJ, if you'd like,
yeah,
so they
sure.
can hear
Why
it.
not just read it?
It was dated May 3rd. Dear Zoning Board of Appeals, we received a notice in regards to a permit request to allow for a home-based landscape business on our neighbor's property. Unfortunately, we'll be out of town on Thursday, so we cannot attend the hearing. However, after visiting your office, it was suggested I put my concerns in writing. I feel badly having any objections to the permit request because we do have a good relationship with our neighbors, but the area in which he wishes to store his equipment is next to our front yard. There is not enough coverage between our lots at this time to block the equipment from sight. He has planted some shrubs along the lot line, but it will take years for them to grow high enough to make a difference. I also have some concerns as to whether having a business so close could affect the market value of our home, or if we decide to sell in the future, it may deter potential buyers. My husband and I don't wish to make things difficult for Mr. Lewis in any way, but do feel that since we live next door, the decision does affect us. We live in a very quiet, pretty neighborhood across from Deep Pond and don't want to see anything change that.
Yeah, honestly, that's, that's very surprising to me. I've spoken to her husband several times, and he never expressed anything other than support. The shrubs that she's mentioning are actually 22 5-foot arborvitaes that will grow. I understand there are gaps between them.
Willing to throw them in if we need to, if that's a...
Sure.
We submitted a photo to the file of the shrubs. We have them.
Yeah, kind of my thinking was having a more natural fence is a lot more aesthetically appealing. So I see perhaps the errors of my ways there. Perhaps I should have gone with a few more trees. But I have made a legitimate effort to try and that piece of property, when we bought it, was an absolute disaster. It was almost like a junkyard. And I've been told by all of my neighbors who were willing to speak with me or truthful, that they are very pleased with what I've done to the property. I take lots of pride in that. And every move that we've made has been with the neighborhood and the neighbors in particular in mind. We do have the parking lot across the street.
That is town.
okay, yeah, could you just kind of walk us, I think it might be helpful, just in considering the application, if you walked us through your operation. So if you told us a little bit about the landscape company, kind of how many employees you have, how many trucks you intend on using. And I know some of this is part of the application, but I think it'd just be helpful if you kind of walked us through your operations a little bit, and what you intend on kind of doing on the site as well.
Well, we've been in business for 14 years.
Right now, we range 8 to 10 full-time employees. Most of the trucks we have get taken home every night. We store 2 to 3 trucks on the property each night.
One of which is also my personal.
One is his personal vehicle. Yep.
I've been trying to, in order to alleviate congestion, and also as a perk and benefit to my guys, whom I'm incredibly grateful for. It's taken a long time. We got, right now, pretty much a core group of seven guys that are, full-time, landscape full-time, so in the winter months, they are laid off. But in order to alleviate congestion and to show them appreciation, we give them a truck that they can take home, take to work, and drive it around on the weekends, and it's theirs. And it's less expense to them. They're not paying insurance on a vehicle and fuel and whatnot, and the guys love it, and it helps kind of everybody.
Everybody comes in 7:30 in the morning, we get everything ready to go, everybody's out of there by 8 o'clock. We finish up 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Some guys might drop by to drop off tools, things like that, and then everybody goes home from there.
If I could, am I right to assume everybody on the board has read all the positive letters?
Yes.
Everything gets sent to the board members, they've received it.
Okay. Well, there was Lori Robbins, who was probably closest to our operation. She works, of course, in the clerk's office.
In the town clerk's office.
Yeah. To quote her here, she says, "I'm very close to his property, and I've never heard any noise during any time, during any day or evening hours. There have never been any complaints concerning his property." I understand it's not exactly ideal for people to have a landscape company next door to them, but we're trying to be as non-intrusive as possible, and our plan...
We do have long-range plans to not be there. Within 5 years, we're looking to purchase a property or lease something within the next 5 years, so we won't need to be there anymore.
When we purchased the home, this was approximately 10 years ago, we were substantially smaller, and quite thankful that we've grown, and we've been trying to adapt to that. We employ 7 local guys with families that rely on the company, rely on Tim and I. So I'd be more than happy to make any sort of corrections to the property, but I would greatly appreciate a business permit for us to operate out of there. If we were to have to move, I don't know that we could absorb that expense. And there is a gentleman here who is, he's pretty much
Okay.
right across the street.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. No, just, so he'll have an opportunity to speak, but yeah, I just
sorry.
don't, no, that's okay, but you can
I didn't know
say
if you
anything
could-
positive, just direct it to the board.
Okay. I've just heard nothing but good things, and I'm actually a little upset that Mr. Antonelli.
I'm not sure that, just to be clear, I'm not sure they were the ones responsible for the complaint.
I understand.
They submitted a letter in which they expressed their concern.
Yeah.
They were not the ones who complained. She just stated her concern, and she's very supportive, if you
Yes,
heard the letter.
overall, it was a positive letter. Just, they expressed some concern about that
Buffering area.
buffering, so, maybe you could beef up the buffering a little bit.
Yeah.
Or whatever the board
Absolutely.
decides.
Yeah.
I think it might be helpful to have some questions, maybe, just
Yeah.
learn more. So, Ken, do you want to, since you...
Well, I'm looking, I went to the site, I read the letters. It's clear you guys have done as good a job as can be done with the amount of space you have to keep it neat, well-organized. I've certainly seen a lot messier sites for home-based service businesses. I just want to be sure that it's going to work in conformity with the bylaw. And there are some fairly clear guidance in the bylaw. For example, no more than 10% of the lot area can be allocated for exterior storage. And I don't know if that calculation's been done, or if you've designated exterior storage areas. You know, if we had a plan that clearly showed
Yeah, I believe
that-
I submitted such a,
but, you know, where the calculation is done, it's not more than 10% of the lot area. You know, we need to have that fairly accurately depicted on the plan. Any exterior storage no closer than 30 feet to any off-premise dwelling. You do qualify, you know, under the definition of home-based service business. Landscaping is one of the permitted uses, so certainly works there. A clear list of the vehicles that are stored. Again, the bylaw says no more than 2 vehicles can be stored in the driveway. So I guess if you have additional vehicles, now your personal vehicle would not count, is that correct? What about the trailers? They count. So maybe there needs to be some kind of enclosure, you know, for them to go in. The no more than 2 employees who are not family members assigned to work on the premises of the home-based service business under the, you know, various conditions. But I think you are, according to this, business may employ other individuals to perform work off-site.
correct, yeah,
So, you know, clearly your business is bigger than just you and 2 other guys, or women. But I think there is a question about where everybody parks. And I did notice all that nice parking across the street, but that, I'm not sure it's legit to use that for your employee parking, because it's, you know, supposed to be access to the pond, I think. So those are my concerns, if you can address those.
okay. Well, the employees, to my knowledge, have never parked close to the pond access. There's always 6, 7, or 8 spaces available closer to the access way to the pond. Just want to let you know that we do, almost on a daily basis, clean up trash in the area, beer cans, bottles. Stuff just appears there overnight in this whole area. And also...
Like I said, I don't think anyone's doubting your good citizens. It's can we make it work in the context of the bylaw?
Yeah, I would think, I get your point about, you know, the employees parking there.
So you said they have their own trucks. Do they use those in their work during the day?
Yeah, not every employee has a truck to take home. You know, it's, there's
2 to 3 vehicles there.
There's 3 guys that have a company truck that they drive into work, and then they load up whatever they need, and then they leave. So it's never parked there. And then at the end of the day, they go home in that same truck. So that's 3. So at the most, there would be 4 employee vehicles that would be parked there. Now, I've lived there for 10 years, and I see that that area can get quite popular in the weekends. And even then, there's never really been any sort of lack for parking. But I understand your...
It's a large space.
It's not that it isn't a perfect place to park the cars. It's just probably not a legal place for you to do it. That's the issue.
Right.
But on the other hand, if I noticed you have a broad area where, actually in this zone where the buffering is, right? And it just, that's like a, is that where you park your trucks when they're not in use and your Bobcat and all that stuff?
Are you talking about kind of the upper area that's kind of what Jim's?
Yeah, let's see, it would be sort of on the north end of the property.
Correct, yep, that's the area.
So when everyone's working, those vehicles that would be parked there are off-site, right?
Yes, correct.
Why couldn't the employees park in that space?
That is, they absolutely can. Actually occurred to me since this all started, and we've been making strides to change things. I've had to move things around and make arrangements with people, but that could absolutely happen if, of course, that is
Can happen tomorrow.
allowed. I don't know
think
if
that would be
there's
allowed.
any
Would
sort of
that would be
rules
allowed,
about.
wouldn't it?
What would be allowed, I'm sorry?
If their employee parking was on their site, off the roadway and on their site.
Well, it has to be on their site. It
Yeah,
cannot be on
I
town
understand.
property.
In other words, where they normally would store their trailers, Bobcat, et cetera.
Well, I think that's something that you guys are going to discuss now, but yes, that's a good,
I just want to know if
Resolve.
if that's kosher.
yes. It's kosher.
So that would be a solution.
Yeah, I appreciate that thought, yes.
Do you have any other questions,
And then a little,
Ken?
well,
Oh,
just
sorry,
to say that
interrupt.
then, the other thing that seems clear is you need a little better buffering on that would go along with that, on that northern edge.
That's an easy fix.
Does that have to be something specific? I mean, is a fence ideal because it's, a solid thing, or
Discuss
is
that later.
additional planting, would that, if they're tall enough? I mean,
Yeah.
will there be kind of parameters or
The board
things?
will discuss that
I just
at the end
go
of,
through.
after they get done questioning you, they'll discuss that and come to
Yeah.
something that you guys can discuss at that time.
But
Right now,
certainly,
get the
you
questions.
guys are the landscapers, so maybe you can come up with a good suggestion.
We'll make it happen. It's-
Okay, I guess
Any
that
others?
covers it.
Okay.
It's the issues, I want to be sure that we understand, the issues are the bylaw, conforming to the bylaw.
Yeah. Well, and we might need more information. That's
Mhm.
not currently before us.
Correct.
Jerry, do you have any questions?
I thought from the email received, the person was complaining about the height. Now, you said you put, if I could, is it possible to go to 6, 7, or 8 feet? You know, within your budget and things like that?
Yes.
I would think that would address that person's concerns if 8
Yeah,
feet
the board will
buffers,
decide that.
most fences aren't higher than 8 feet.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
I have another question.
No, okay. TJ, do you have any questions?
Yes, what are your hours of operation?
7:30 a.m. to approximately 4:30 p.m.
And is that Monday through Saturday, or?
Monday through Friday, sometimes
The
Saturday.
occasional Saturday, weather permitting, like as of late, all it's been doing is raining, so.
Saturday hours tend to be abbreviated. They're not usually 7:30 to 4:30. It's more like 8 to 2. It's a shorter day for us on Saturdays.
Thank you.
Is that it? Ed?
On Monday, went out by there, and I noticed across the street, there was like 4 or 5 vehicles. Are those your employees that were parked there?
Possibly, most likely,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. But in the picture, I don't know when this was taken, but it shows these vehicles here in front. I assume those are your employees too?
No, that would be my wife and my
Oh.
stepson.
Oh, okay. Has there been any thought about using this spot for parking or equipment trailers?
That's where the driveway
There is a driveway there,
Yeah,
on the left side of the home, where we have 2 trucks and 2 enclosed trailers that we keep right there.
so you do use that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's all I have.
Thank you. Paul?
No questions.
Robert?
No, I think just some of the same things with the park across the street. Is it possible to use the left side behind the driveway for, it just seems that there's more a tree line there, it would be more hidden there, less noise?
We've kind of considered everything, but the terrain over there is not conducive to really doing much with it, unfortunately. At the top of my driveway, we have a shed, which we store some things in, and then it just drops off. So there's not much working room, and then if you head over a little bit this way, then it's a hill, and so that's why, we created that space up top, because it was literally the only flat spot on the property. It's all we really had to work with.
So three of the trucks you said employees take home at night, so that's pretty much their own use?
Yep.
So besides those three, how many personal vehicles do the employees need to leave there? Because you said 8 to 10, so I'm figuring now you're down to 5 employees.
Right.
Some of the guys carpool in.
Yeah, I think, honestly, it depends. Well, we've had a good crew, so in years past, people come and go. But right now, I'm fairly confident it's pretty much 4 cars. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes there may be a truck, we have to move it out of the way and park it across the street temporarily just to shuffle things around, but, we can.
And where that arborvitae line is off of Bark Drive in the back, would you be amenable to putting a fence up, like a stockade fence up there?
Whatever's gonna make.
Yeah, we'll do
everybody
whatever,
happy.
yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I honestly would have preferred that initially. It's just, financial wise and, trees and planting is kind of our thing, so we opted for that. Yeah, I just wish I got bigger trees.
With the equipment that you're using there, I assume, you start at 7:30 in the morning, do they have a lot of the backup alarms or any noise issues with that?
They do.
They do, but it's very brief. I mean, it takes a matter of a few seconds. We make a point to have no idling vehicles or nobody kind of hanging out, or it's kind of come in and get out of here.
That's it for now, thanks.
Suri, did you have questions?
How many vehicles do you have? You have a couple 550s that are over 13,000 pounds?
No, they're under 13.
They are?
Yep.
Yes.
And do they ever carry a trailer from the site?
Sometimes.
And what are the size of your trailers? What are the length of the beds?
We have an 18-foot Bobcat trailer, 16-foot utility landscape trailer, 16-foot enclosed trailer, and a 12-foot enclosed trailer.
The 550s pretty much only tow the enclosed equipment trailers.
TJ, can you see what they say on the registration for that weight? In the bylaw, it says, and I did give you a copy of it, or Ashley did, I believe, the 24162.
Yep.
It says that it can't be in any front yard. You realize that where you want to stage that, up in that northwest corner, it does have an elevation of a grade from 90 that goes down to 72 feet at your house. But that is a front yard. So you might want to take your plan to the building inspector and see if he can make that other area. Because is it Pondview right in front of your house and Bark ends at that cul-de-sac?
Bark begins at the cul-de-sac. It's a bit tricky.
Well, I see Bark going up north or coming down south to your house.
Right.
And then you've got the drive in front of you. Is that not Pondview?
Correct, that is Pondview.
All right, so maybe you could get the building commissioner to deem that Pondview is your front street and Bark is your side street. So you're not parking in a front yard if you propose that and this board approves that. And then it also says in the bylaw that all the vehicles have to be screened, which means down along that area, you're going to have to talk to the engineering department to get a curb cut off Bark right in that area so that you can get in and still screen. And again, you got to remember that grade drops from 90 feet to 72. I pulled the topos on it.
I'm sorry, what am I missing as far as the grade drop?
I'm just saying, you did, up in the corner where you're parking stuff, that's a 90. Is it 90? And it drops down to 72 by your house. So where you're going to need a curb cut
Yeah.
and still need screening to store the equipment there, if you do that, it's going to have to be a good turn, unless you're going to do fill work or something there. I'm just saying, if you looked at that, because I don't think you have anything stored there now, from what I can see, do you?
No, I mean, you can't access it.
Right. So there's a few issues with getting access right there. Curb cut approval by the engineering department. How you're going to screen that and have that designated, if the building commissioner will do it, as a side street. So then you can park things there. It wouldn't be a front road. We have a bylaw, 240-13 definition, yard, comma, front. The building commissioner can designate when you're on a corner similar to what you're on, even though it's a cul-de-sac, it is two different
Yeah.
roadways. He can designate one as a side, because right now, you have two front yards.
Yes, it's
So-
always been kind of confusing to me why I'm considered Park Drive, yet my house is...
It is to a lot of people.
Yes, I explain it to
Yes.
every delivery driver on the phone.
You may need to stake that too. When I drove out there for the site visit, especially on the Bark Drive side, it's hard to see where actually the lot lines are. I can find the concrete bound, but if they're dealing with the building department, you may want to have somebody add some extra stakes on the corner so they know exactly where the lot line is. So when they're figuring out their setbacks and everything from the road layout, they'll know
Yeah.
where the actual lot
Yeah, because
is.
the actual road layout is 40 feet.
It's probably
And
wider
a
than
lot of
what
people
shows.
have their front yards into the road layout. It's common, it's all over town. Everybody does it without really knowing. But I see what he's saying, so you can stake where your actual property line is, because it's not there where it meets the street. It's a little bit further back. So those are just the concerns that I have, and maybe they might want to look at that.
TJ looked up the gross vehicle weight, and I think of the, there was one that was
550.
19,000.
550 is a pretty good sized truck.
Yeah,
19.
that was
Yes.
my concern.
Yeah, so
So if the board wants,
we would need to,
you can amend the application to include, what is the zoning here? Is it RB? 240-23G4.
agriculture.
AGA.
No, it's agriculture?
Say
Yeah,
GM?
yeah, it says AGA. on the-
240-38G4.
That's it.
Okay, so we'll just keep that out there in the meantime. So I just have a few questions, so, might even be less than a few. So, closed on Sundays, no operation? Okay. Do you employ anyone who stays on the property during the day? A bookkeeper or anything like that? No. Okay. I think all of my other questions have been issued, or asked already.
I have a follow-up.
Yep.
Do you snow plow in the winter at all?
We do, not much, not for, towns or anything, but we have a handful of, most of our customers are, have summer homes, so most of them are gone. So Tim has a truck with him.
So that would be Saturday and Sundays? I mean, whenever the snow falls?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, excuse me, Madam Chair, it's
Yes.
240-38-4B. And I suggest that the board ask the applicant now if he's amenable to adding that to the application so we can get that on the record.
How many vehicles do they have that are over? We can approve more than one,
Two.
right? If we want, so they had
Yes,
two.
two of 550s. They have one, and then they just bought one recently.
Okay, so would you be amenable to us adding, it's basically, you're just adding, you're seeking approval under that provision of the bylaw?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not allowed.
Right.
But there is a bylaw that allows
It's
it.
not allowed under the home-based service business, but special permit uses within your district are allowed.
Right.
Okay. All right, does anybody else have any questions right now?
The only other question I had is how often do people come back during the day, if at all, to the site?
Every day's different, but it's
Very rarely.
Rarely.
And how long might they stay if they were coming back?
Not long, it's probably just to pick up something that didn't make it to the job.
So again, according to the bylaw, you can come back, but, only for 30 minutes. And, if we condition in that way, it's not going to impede your ability to function.
Yeah, no, 30 minutes is plenty of time to get what they need and get out of there.
Okay.
Okay. That's it for now?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so let me see, I'm just gonna see if anybody has public comment. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here just to speak on this? No? Okay. All right, well, that makes it easy. So I think we should have some board discussion though, because I think we probably need more information.
I think we need a better drafted plan.
Yes.
That,
Business plan as well, just a small summation of how many employees, on the list of vehicles, they do say, in parentheses, this is taken home. But if you could have a list of what's actually going to be stored on the site.
Right.
We have a list of all the equipment, so what's actually going to be stored there.
and where it's going to be stored.
Right, and how many employees actually come to the site, and now a new plan for where they're going to park.
Yes, yeah, and that's important because that was my, I guess, biggest concern. Even though I know there's parking, you've been parking on the street, you just can't. We need to make sure that there's provision on your property for parking. And so a plan showing where they would be parking, calculating, storage area, 10%, make sure it complies, I think it would be helpful if you just went through kind of 240-162F and just kind of checked it off and gave us, the information.
Sari can help you with that.
Yes, yeah. And that way that helps us in fashioning any decision that we make too. And that way we can, make sure, yes, we're going to require screening in a certain location, and we know that you're on board with that and you're okay with that and you're asking for that and that we can accommodate that. So I think that's probably the biggest, like you said, Ken, the plan, and some of those other things that we talked about, the front yard setback issue, making sure everything's screened. Is there any mechanism to disable a backup alarm?
You can't, it's against OSHA regulations.
Oh, it is.
But there is a backup alarm, white noise, I don't know
Yeah.
what the cost of it is
Okay.
or anything,
The
but
other
it's up to
strategy
them to
that-
look into it.
Has been used in some places is to require that you back in at night. So the backup alarm at night's presumably a
Right.
little less disruptive
Right.
than
Yeah.
in the morning.
We've
And it
never
might help in
received the noise
loading the trailers and stuff
Right.
as well.
Right.
We're just trying to, structure the decision in a way that's going to, satisfy all your neighbors and make it 100% legal.
Absolutely.
So maybe if you guys have time next Monday or Tuesday, you can come by the office, we can go through this, do a list.
Sure.
And if you come in early, you can probably catch the building commissioner and bring a plan in and have him sign off so that that's not a front yard.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else that you guys can think
No.
of that's,
I think that'd be
you would
good.
like to see addressed, or?
Just very clear delineation on the plan of what's storage, where's parking for your work vehicles, and where's parking for the employee.
Yeah, because 4 trailers that's a lot in terms of,
And then, so I guess the other issue, the other question is, do any of these things need to be enclosed? Because they might, right? They might need to go in the structure,
Doesn't matter.
which you didn't have a garage that I saw or anything.
Not at the moment. No.
What type of vehicle, so they would know, would have to go inside a garage?
Well, it's just, there's a limit to the number of vehicles that can be outside.
yeah.
So Sari, you'll walk them through that?
Yeah, we'll go through everything when they come in.
But it does sound like you're growing fast and
Yeah. Hopefully don't have to be there.
need to move
too
at
much
some
longer.
point.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and this will, whatever decision we do make, will probably limit you to X number of vehicles, 4 trailers, you've presented us with 4 trailers. So then you would have to either come back before us to modify that, or find a place off-site to store them or something like that.
If you
So, I
gotta-
mean, so. But anyway, so we need more information is really what boils down to.
Right, and I think-
And Sri can help
I think
you.
I've got a handle on it, I think they've got a handle on it, so
Sure.
we can meet and talk about it and get that. So the board's going to continue this
Yes.
to June 1st, hopefully?
Sure.
Will all of you 5 voting members be here June 1st? I'm
We
hoping.
have
Yeah.
2 alternates too.
Yeah.
So, but yes, we'll all be here.
Okay,
Did
so
we get a
us-
SNAL from that?
you need a motion to the effect of that?
To
Yes,
continue to
please.
June
So I will
1st.
move that we continue, I don't forget the number on this,
Oh, I have it.
1817.
18-17 to June 1, here in Town Hall, 6:30 PM.
I
Perfect.
second it.
So that's Ken and then Ed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
I was hoping
That's
for
unanimous.
5:30.
All right, so you're all set.
All right, thank you.
For the time being. Thanks.
For the moment.
And I'll just take a 10-minute break.